If you've taken the time to truly listen to Foster the People's Pumped Up Kicks, you'd soon realize that the 10-year-old tropical tune is saying something rather sinister. But I wouldn't blame you if you didn't notice. The laid-back instrumental is pure ear candy. Lyrically, the track speaks of a troubled teen who plans to shoot his classmates at school. It's not very subtle. I mean, the chorus tells us about 7 times. Despite its questionable subject matter, it became the group's breakthrough hit, ushering in a new wave of commercially viable indie pop, sitting at number 3 on the Billboard Hot 100 for 8 straight weeks, and claiming Spotify's most streamed song of 2011. How can such a cheerful track put such a dark and depressing twist on its lyrics? More surprisingly, why did we continue to enjoy it, even after we knew of the grim details? Let's take a look at the true meaning behind Pumped Up Kicks. Looking to grow his musical network, Mark Foster moved to LA when he was 18 years old. Working odd jobs, he eventually found work as a commercial jingle writer. When he wasn't writing melodies for TV ads, he was creating punchy hooks for his own project, Foster the People. On a day off, rather than heading to the beach, he opted to hunker down and write what would become Pumped Up Kicks. The chorus came to him first.
All the other kids with the pumped up kicks, he's better run, faster than my bullet.
And at this point, the gun in the track was just a metaphor. It was meant to be a song about self-confidence and excelling past the other kids. That changed when he ad-libbed the first verse during a recording session.
Rob's got a quick hand. He'll look around the room, he won't tell you his plan. He's got a rolled cigarette hanging out his mouth, he's a cowboy kid.
Foster tells us a bit about the quick-handed Robert, referencing the speed of drawing a gun from his holster like in cowboy duels. And why not? He's a cowboy kid after all. Maybe he likes westerns.
Yeah, the phone was a 6-shooter gun in his dad's closet with a box of fun things I don't even know what. But he's coming for you, yeah, he's coming for you. Hey.
Things take a turn as the verse clearly becomes about a kid who finds his dad's gun, giving the weapon its literal meaning. But the terrifying part is he plans to use it.
All the other kids with the pumped up kicks, he's better run, and I'll run my gun.
The chorus changes perspectives, and the singer is now in Robert's mind. The pumped up kicks are in reference to Reebok's classic basketball shoe, the ones you could pump up at the tongue for some extra lift while jumping. They were also twice the price of regular sneakers, which only secures the idea of our protagonist's isolation. They were unaffordable to the average kid, who, without them, might have felt detached from the rest of his classmates. Robert's plan is to take out his revenge on the rich kids. While there's no actual violence in the song, it's become a theme for revenge that many teens can relate to. Foster ran with the concept, trying to imagine what it would be like to be inside of the head of a teen who was losing his mind. We learn more about Robert, and that he'd most likely never be able to afford those pumped-up kicks.
Daddy works a long day. He's coming home late, he's coming home late, and he's bringing me a surprise.
His father works long hours to make ends meet, leaving the two of them to eat microwave dinners.
There's dinner's in the kitchen, and it's packed in nights I've waited for a long time.
From there, things get a little cryptic. You can argue that the song's cheeriness is a symbol of just how far gone this kid is. But lyrics really come second to melody. Foster got to recording all of the instruments and arranged the track into a demo. In doing so, he managed to blend a number of eras, styles, and formats to create a hit that works on so many levels. A drum beat straight out of Fleetwood Mac's Dreams. It has an irresistible bass hook, which is always key in carrying a hit. The spaced out synths of the 80s. A sing-along chorus featuring the sunny harmonies of the 60s.
All the other kids with the pumped up kicks, he's better run, and I'll run.
And even a whistling section. He finished the demo in 8 hours, and it's the same version of the song you hear today, which explains why it ends on a number of repeated choruses. But Foster couldn't have anticipated the demo to blow up after posting it to his website. It became Foster the People's debut single, and with the song taking off, Foster knew he'd have to explain the reason for the track's ominous plot. The problem some had was that they felt the song was treating school shootings with the same gravity as bubblegum pop. Many wrote letters to Foster's label and radio stations complaining that the song was glorifying school shootings. But pop music has always had its fair share of murder in songs.
I shot the sheriff, but I didn't shoot no deputy.
Psycho killer, just killed a man.
But what does it say about the public who continue to enjoy these tracks? We've been watching westerns and rooting for Clint Eastwood to gun down the bad guy for nearly a century. We're desensitized to it, until it comes in a different form. Murder is one of society's major taboos, but also perhaps its most basic human impulse. I mean, we'd never actually commit murder. But what could have possibly driven a person to such an extreme act? It's part of a reason for our love of true crime stories, our curious nature. When we read, watch, or hear about these acts, we're engaged on a number of levels. We're curious about the mind and the psychology of the bad guy, but we also want some insight so that we can learn to better protect ourselves and our families. In interviews, Foster has said that the song was not about condoning violence, that it was an observation of youth culture and mental illness, looking at the internal dialogue of a teen with nowhere to turn. Nice save. It became an anti-bullying message that imagined the worst, and a platform to have the conversation about something that's worth talking about, because the worst still happens all the time. It was also Mark Foster's big you to hipsters. He knew you'd losers would be dancing to the without a care in the world until you bothered to listen to what the he's actually. Pumped Up Kicks is a tribute to what Foster the People have always done really well. Pair infectious melodies with some worthwhile lyricism. You just need to take the time to truly listen. We all have the power to transform our future. Take the first step to a creative life you love with this week's sponsor, Skillshare. In her class, Creative Transformation, 9 Exercises to Draw, Write, and Discover Your Future, Mari Andrew acts as your North Star in guiding you to self-reflect, discover, and achieve your dreams. You can get full access to the class using the first link below. Skillshare is an online learning community for creatives, where millions come together to take the next step in their creative journey. They offer thousands of inspiring classes in productivity, photography, music making, and whatever else you might be interested in learning. Skillshare is also incredibly affordable. An annual subscription is less than $10 a month, but the first 500 of my viewers to click the link in the description will get 2 free months of premium membership. So push your creativity, develop personal goals, and reach for your dreams with Skillshare's online classes. Thanks for watching, ladies and gents. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like rating. Subscribe to hear more stories behind the music you love, and be sure to hit that bell so you never miss an episode. If you can, support the channel on Patreon. Everything helps keep the channel going. Middle 8 merch is up and running. You can find a link to that in the description below as well. I've heard Foster the People plan on retiring Pumped Up Kicks for their live shows, their most popular song. What do you think about that? Let me know in the comments below. But that's it for me. Again, thanks for watching, and keep listening.